Hi all, my name is Judy West and I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. Today you will learn to mix secondary and tertiary colours from the three primary colours red, blue and yellow. Hi all, how are you? I just thought I would come on today and show you how to mix colours. This is a colour wheel and it helps you to not only know what colours to mix to get other colours, but it also tells you how to choose colours. Today we're only going to look at the colour mixing side of things. So first of all, I've got a paintbrush. Paintbrushes come in various sizes, shapes and types of bristles, and I'll go into that in another video, but for today's purposes I've just got a round medium-sized paintbrush to use. I've got a palette knife and I use a palette knife to mix my colours, and I use a plastic palette knife to mix my colours because the metal ones are a bit sharp for colour mixing. I prefer a plastic one, it doesn't cut into the paper as much. And I use a palette knife because if I'm mixing with my paintbrush, it's going to damage the bristles and eventually make it wear out a lot faster. So I just rather, a plastic palette knife is a whole lot cheaper to be throwing out than a paintbrush. Now I've also got this paper and to put my paint on, and this paper is just your standard baking paper. It stops the paint soaking through because it's non-porous, and once you're finished you just screw it up and throw it in the bin. There's no cleanup. So, and very cheap, much cheaper than a palette, and as I said, there's no cleanup, whereas you need to clean a palette up. Okay, I have a water trough. I like a water trough that's got holes to sit my brush in, and it's got a couple of different bays so that I can have dirty and clean water all in one palette, in one trough, and then I've got sections in it where I can actually brush my bristles up against it to clean them out and to get the excess water out. So I've got a one and the second one over here with water in it. And I'm painting today onto just a piece of cardboard. I'm using acrylic paints, and acrylic paints are water-based paints. They are non-toxic and they don't smell. So they're a nice paint to use. Good with kids. Most adults learn in acrylic paints. They're thicker than watercolors, but not as thick as oils. Watercolor washes out in water. Oils, you need a solvent to clean them up, and the smell can be very overpowering. So you know, a lot of people prefer to stick with acrylics or watercolors. The surface I'm painting on is just a piece of cardboard, as I said. Acrylics go onto most surfaces, but if it's a very non-porous surface, like for instance glass or plastic, once it dries it could easily peel off. It won't, because it doesn't soak in, it can't hold onto that surface very well. So if you want it to stay, you usually need to paint onto a porous surface. Timber, canvas, paper, cardboard, lots of different things you can paint with acrylic paint. Fences, houses, walls, all sorts of things. Okay, so there are three colours here on my palette: yellow, blue and red, and they are primary colours, which means they're the first colours. You can't mix to get a yellow or mix to get a blue or mix to get a red. You start with those colours, and from all other colours these come. So I've just got a basic yellow, a basic blue and a basic red. It depends on which shade of these, what shade of colour you will get, but that gets a bit technical when we're sticking with the basics today. So on our colour wheel we position our primary colours. I put yellow there, and then I'll leave 3 spaces for my secondary and tertiary colours in between, and then put another primary, and leave 3 spaces, put another primary. So, and then another 3 spaces. So we've got yellow here, blue here and red here, and that's what I'm going to do first. So here's our yellow first up. Yellow tends to be a fairly transparent colour, so you can see that writing quite easily through it. The blue next. Blue is transparent too, so you can see the white through there quite easily. But if you'd put blue on a dark background, the background wouldn't show through as much. If you put the yellow on a darker background, because yellow is transparent, the yellow would show through a lot more. The background would show through a lot more. The next colour we're going to use is red. So we have now our primary colours on our colour wheel. Yellow, blue, red. Now to make secondary colours, you've got to mix two primaries together. So the first two primaries I'm going to mix together are yellow and best thing to use for cleaning your brushes and everything, wiping off things, is an old towel. And I'm going to mix blue with that. When you mix yellow and blue together, I need to have a bit more blue, so I have almost equal quantities of both. Mix your yellow and the blue together and you get green. And you put them midway between the yellow and the blue on the colour wheel. So yellow and blue makes your secondary colour, which is green. Now if we mix blue and red together, take some blue and take some red, mix them together, we get a nice dark purple. And you put them in between those two in your secondary colour space. See that purple? Now, if we mix some red with some yellow, you'll end up with orange. And that's our third secondary colour on the colour wheel. So these are our primary colours. These are our secondary colours, which we got from mixing and that together. Now we're going to look at tertiary colours. And tertiary colours we get from mixing one of the two primary colours to that secondary colour. So we'll go back to the green which we started with. Let's take half that green there and let's add some more yellow to it. And we get it's a lighter version because the yellow is lighter than the blue. We get a lighter green which is more like a yellow green. And that's a tertiary colour because we've mixed a primary and a secondary colour together. Now if we mixed more of the blue with it, with this one up here, we'll get a darker version of that green and it's called a blue-green because it's got more blue in it than yellow in it. Now, if you see, you've got 3 shades of green that would all go well together because they're all mixed from the same colours. But you've got a light, a medium and a dark. So if you were doing, say, for instance, leaves, and you wanted some shadow and some natural colour and some shade, you've got 3 colours there to do that. That could be the leaf colour, that could be where the sun hits it, that colour, and that could be where it's dark on the leaf, where there's no light hitting it. Okay, so now let's look at the purple and do the same thing to it. Let's add, for instance, let's take some of this purple down here and add a bit more red to it. And we get a more reddy purple or a pinky purple. See how much lighter that is? Looks like it's got more red in it than that one. But if we go to the next, we go back here and we put some blue in that purple. Then it will become darker and it'll be more of a blue purple. Not quite blue, but it's definitely more blue than that purple is. See the difference in those colours? And if you are wanting to do, say, a beautiful purple iris, it might be that colour, but where the sun hits it, it might go that colour, but where the shade hits it, it might go that colour. Okay, now let's look at the orange. If we take some of this orange down here and add more red to it, it will become darker and it'll be more like a reddy orange. But if we add more yellow to it, find some yellow there. Look at that, that's a pretty yellow orange. Now, as far as colour mixing goes, that's what the colour wheel is all about. You have 1, 2, 3 primary colours, yellow, blue and red. If you mix yellow and blue together, you get green. It's secondary colour. If you mix blue and red together, you get purple, which is a secondary colour. If you mix yellow and red together, you get orange, which is a secondary colour. Now, if you want a tertiary colour, if you add more yellow to the green, you get a greeny yellow. If you add more blue to the green, you get a blue-green. If you add more blue to the purple, you get a bluey purple. If you add more red to the purple, you get a reddy purple. If you add more red to the orange, you get a reddy orange. If you add more yellow to the orange, you get a yellow orange. So we have primary colours, secondary colours, and then tertiary colours. Sorry, there. That's what the colour wheel's all about, and I hope that was helpful today. Have a great day. and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.